Hey, what's up, guys? So today I thought I'd kind of review Luing Shuang a little bit more in detail of like where does she fall on the axis of heroes of value. So something that I thought was kind of interesting with Ling, right, is she's a training speed up hero, so she's going to add training speed. And one of the things that you find yourself needing pretty quickly is you need to be able to train quantities of troops quickly, cheaply, and as frequent as you possibly can, right? Now, there's a couple of heroes in this game, i.e., like Jasser, for example, right? Where an option will come up for research speed. It's an easy answer every time, guys. Research speed and construction speed should always come first. But not long after that, you need to be getting Ling. Because the thing with Ling is, right, is you're going to get 20% training speed up, but then she's even got a reduced enemy attack by 20%, which, you think, okay, that's a little different from attack up, which goes up by 25%. It's a little different from a lot of other skills that, are enemy damage down. So what exactly about this skill, where she's dropping enemy troop attack, why is that so valuable? And a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you compare her to a lot of the other heroes in the game, she's the only one that actually drops the attack stat that I've seen. And so that makes her kind of unique in that, when you compare, like, looking at your war tabs, right? Enemy attack being dropped by 20% is the comparable equivalent of having enemy troop attack down 2 at 20%. So to have not only her, but another 20% drop boost kicked in, you're basically getting 40%, and that's a big deal. When you look at, what 20% reducing enemy attack could offer you, that very well could be a big deal and what you're going to gain from it. Now, you might be wondering her overall stats, what she look like when she's actually maxed out. She's at 140% in Expedition, which, yeah, contrary to what you might expect with someone like Molly, for example, okay, even at her best, that's a 40% drop, from where you're at 60% increased with Molly, right? So you're kind of missing out on a little bit of attack stat. If you were to just go with a Molly, you're going to gain 60% attack. So obviously, I still feel like the meta is always going to drift. But so what's interesting about heroes like her is really mainly not so much for her attack stat, which I think a lot of people will see that expedition skill and jump to. It's more for the Pillar of Wisdom, in my opinion, for a lot of people late game and long term. So if you want to invest in anything, invest in her Pillar of Wisdom skill. And when you got time and you're bored and you want to start playing around with things, get Fearsome Aura just for that little extra added 20% enemy reduction. Because the thing is I could see that being useful for builds that have, kind of strictly gone for something that, would have gone for a Patrick, for example, where they increase troop health by 10%, that can go all the way up to say 25%, right? Like now you could conceivably also have somebody stack up Ling Shuang and try to reduce your opponent's enemy attack. So that's another option, and it's an interesting option indeed. So that said, I thought I'd bring it up and just kind of let you guys dabble and think about it. But I think there is definitely a direction now that a person could have possibly stacked a set of these, and these actually might be pretty comparable in garrisons where you're trying to defend and hold a fort. That it very well might be something worth having. Now, in rallies, obviously, I don't see as much of a benefit there, but anything that'll turn the tides of war is always a benefit in my eyes. So that's something that we'll have to look into, because one thing that I'm kind of curious about is whether or not does that skill stack. Because imagine if somebody stacks 3, because the first 3 heroes that join a rally, right? I wonder if that 20% would stack 3 times. The same way, if you get a Patrick in 3 times, do you get, that's kind of the question, right? And my guess is it probably does, but we'll have to ask the creative minds and find out for sure. So none of that's confirmed, but that's just a thought that came to mind that honestly, it'd be pretty interesting, to say the least. And it'd be interesting to see an SSR equivalent of that, if we'll ever see it, that is. But needless to say, thought I'd bring it up. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.